اوكي بسم الله اعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم اللهم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Apologies for the delayed start. So we're going to move on to the next part, but before we do that, any questions from anyone regarding the last session that we had? Sister Famila, you found it okay? Yeah. It's the first time I've seen you here. Have you done Arabic before? A bit. And what's your name? Okay. Okay. Anyone online? Any concerns? Any issues? Yeah.
Salam Ustadh. Just the stuff we did about mabni and the fixed words.
Yeah.
We didn't do much detail on that, so are we going to go back to them?
Yeah. 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 So mabni words and words which were ending with like the ya without the dots and the alif. For now, all I need you to know with them words is that the ending is fixed, meaning the ending is not going to change. So if it has like an ah type ending, it's going to be the same in the rafa, the nasb, and the jar. Whether it's mabni or whether it's the other type, you may not know that just yet. But as we go along, when we come across mabni words, I'll tell you this is mabni. But at a later stage, inshallah, we're going to be learning mabni in detail.
Yeah, that makes sense. Jazakallah.
Okay. But just to summarize, there are always three types of case endings. So I don't want you to make the mistake of saying um, that there's only one case ending. For example, in terms of mabni, or there are two case endings in terms of partly declinable, or there are three case endings. Isms will always have three endings: rafa, nasb, and jar. It's just that in certain words, it shows three unique endings, like un and in, or u, a, i. Then we had words which are like mabni, where the ending doesn't change. For example, hadha. Hadha will always be hadha, hadha, hadha. That doesn't mean hadha has got one ending. It's got three endings, which are rafa, nasb, and jar, but it is only showing one ending. Okay? Hadha can be rafa, hadha can be nasb, hadha can be jar. It's just that the ending isn't changing to show you whether it's rafa, whether it's not. The reason it can't take a different ending is because it has this alif at the end. So this alif is not going to budge. And then the main lesson was on partly declinable. Someone summarize what partly declinable is? What are these types of words, partly declinable? So the five, there's five and there's many more. So what's specific about partly declinable? What do we know about partly declinable words? So how many endings do they have? So two unique endings. What are those two endings? That's the mistake I didn't want you to make. So it has three case endings, rafa, nasb, and jar. But in terms of showing its ending, it can only display two endings, which are u and a. So the rules for partly declinable were that it can't take a tanween, meaning it can't be Ibrahimun, it's Ibrahimu. And the other rule was that it can't take a kasra. Yeah. So it's Ibrahimu, Ibrahima, Ibrahima, not Ibrahimi. And then we said there's five categories and there's many more, but for now we're only learning five. For example, words which are on the pattern of akbaru, af'alu, ajmalu, right? That's one category. So words that, so when you see af'alu, when you see that scale like akbaru, ajmalu, ahsanu, so they all look the same. The only difference is the letters are different, but they all start with this hamza, ah, ak, af, at, an, and so on. So the beginning, so they look exactly the same. The only difference is the letters are different, but the first letter is the hamza, second one's got a sukoon, then it's fatha, and dhamma, akbaru, and so on. Okay. And another example of a partly declinable word?
Masculine names with ata marbuta.
Yeah. So non-Arabic names was one. And then we had feminine names or masculine names that end with a ta marbuta at the end. And names of places that do not start with a al. Okay. And then we said to make a partly declinable word fully declinable. So what am I saying here? For it to go from akbaru, akbara, akbara, and I want to say akbaru, akbara, akbari, three endings. How do I do that?
You add an al.
You add an al in the beginning. So if I say akbaru, akbara, akbara, it's partly declinable. If I add an al, it becomes al akbaru, al akbara, al akbari. So try and I know you've got the course booklet, but try and make your own notes as you go along, like these key points, okay? Again, you're going to see the relevance of this when you start doing a bit more Arabic. So today's lesson is about the second thing about the ism that we need to know. The first thing was case ending. The second thing is number. Now, number we've already done at least half of it. So today's lesson, we're going to focus on the remaining half. But before I get on to that, any questions from anyone regarding what we've done so far? So that's case ending wrapped up now. Okay, Rafa, Nasb, and Jar. Make sure you learn the endings. Okay, so when it comes to number of an ism, we're referring to whether an ism is referring to one thing, whether it's referring to two things, or whether it's referring to two or more. Okay, plural. Or three or more, whichever way sounds right. So singular, do we need to study singular? Is there much to know about singular? No. So singular words, when you're learning your vocab, most of your vocab will be singular. The only way to learn a singular ism is by learning the words as you go along. Okay? But what have you learned about the singular so far? What kind of ending does it have? Un o u. An o a. In. That's most of the time. There might be an exception somewhere. But your singular words either end with a un or a tanween, or they end with a single haraka. Okay? That's your singular. Dual, do we need to learn dual? Do we? Have we not already learned dual? What are the dual endings? How do you make an ism from a singular into a dual? What do you add at the end? Yeah. Yeah, everyone online can hear me, right? Because
Yeah, we can hear you.
okay. So you're adding ani, aini, aini. All right. So if you had a word, for example, sayyaratun, sayyaratun is a car. How do I say two cars?
Siyaratani.
Ani.
Yeah. Sayyara, sayyaratani. All right, that's two cars. So all you're doing is adding an ani, aini, aini, depending on whether you're going to make a rafa, nas, or jar. Okay. So we don't need to study the singular. We don't need to study the dual because we've already learned the dual. We're adding simply ani, aini, aini at the end. But what we do need to study is the plural. Okay. And we've already learned some plurals, haven't we? So what plurals have we learned so far? Una,
Una.
ina. And the other one was?
Antu,
What's the other?
anti, anti.
Yeah. So we've learned, so based on the Muslimun chart that we learned Muslimuna, Muslimina, Muslimina. And that one was called your masculine plural, right? And then where we had the atun, atin, atin. So muslimatun, muslimatin, muslimatin. We call it the feminine plural. So today we're going to learn a few more things about the plural. So today's lesson is mainly about the plural. Now, una, ina, and the atun, atin endings. If you look on this diagram here, it's been given, or it's been, the term sound has been attached to it. So it's not just masculine plural, it's called sound masculine plural, sound feminine plural. So we need to kind of understand, what do we mean by sound? What do we mean by broken? So there are two main types of plurals. One is called a sound plural, and the other one is called a broken plural. Okay? So what is the difference between the two? So a sound plural is when the original word in the singular, or the sound plural is the word where when you look at it, you can see the original singular word in it. So when you look at, for example, the word book, and the plural of book is books, right? So all we've done is added an S at the end to it. Now this is in English. So book went to books. But when you look at the word books, can you see the word book in there? Yeah? Pen, pens. House, houses. So the original word, which is the singular word, remains intact in the plural. So when you look at whether it's sound or broken, sound is when that original word remains intact, right? That's what we mean by sound. Broken is when you take that singular word and you break it, meaning you change the word in some way. It may not completely change it. Some aspect of it may be changed. So for example, when you look at the word man, it turned into men. Mouse, mice. Tooth, teeth, right? And so on. So that's the main difference. So with the sound plural, what are we really doing? We're adding something to the end of the word. Does that make sense? Yeah? Whereas a broken plural, we're changing the structure of the word completely. Okay? So sound, the word remains intact. You're just adding something to the end of it, or adding something to the end of the singular word to make it plural. Whereas a broken plural, you're kind of changing the word completely. Okay? So that original word, you don't see mouse in mice anymore. All right? It's totally different. If you said mouses, which is incorrect, then you would say it's a sound plural, because you can see the word mouse in mouses. Okay? So that's what we mean by sound and broken. Any questions on that from anyone? So this is in English. So now you guys tell me, Muslimuna, now we're looking at here in Arabic. So if I go back to the Muslimun chart, is Muslimuna, would you say it is sound plural, or is it a broken plural?
Sound.
Sound plural.
Okay. Reasoning?
The root letters are the same. Are you just changing the case
Sorry.
endings?
Yeah, so what have I done to go from Muslimun to Muslimuna?
On to the una.
Yeah, so you've added a una. So Musliman, Muslimina, Muslimin, Muslimina. So when you look at the word Muslimuna, you see the word Muslim still there, right? Muslim, Meme with a dhamma, Seen with a sukoon, Lam with a kasra, Meme with a dhamma. It's up to there, it's the same. Then you've added the una at the end of it. So remember what we said about sound plural? The singular word remains intact, and you're adding something to the end. So adding una, in a sense, is like adding the S at the end. Okay? Muslimun, Muslimuna. Okay? Musliman, Muslimina. Muslimin, Muslimina. Same again with the feminine, slightly the same, you could say. You might argue that you're adding an alif between the meme and the ta, but the original word is Muslim. The original word is still Muslim. You're adding an atun, atin, atin at the end, right? That's why these plurals that we've learned, we call them the sound masculine or the sound feminine plural. And just remember, with sound, if you forget, it means that you're not changing the structure of the word. You're just adding something to the end. Okay, that's what we mean by sound sound plural. Yeah, because you can't. So we're going to do that now. So with sound plurals, you're just adding a una, ina at the end. But if you had never done English before, how do you predict mouse is going to go to mice? You just don't know. Like how there's no way for you to know except that you learn the word in the language. Someone tells you, or you find it in the dictionary. Okay. So if you look at these examples here, Muslimun became Muslimuna, Mudarrisun became Mudarrisuna, Mu'minun became Mu'minuna, and then so on. The same with the feminine plural, Atun, Muslimatun, Mudarrisatun, Sayyaratun. Okay? All right. So there's a few points to make. Again, we'll come on to this section in a moment. But briefly, this una, ina, these I think someone asked this question last time as well. Una, ina is usually that plural. If you see it in the Quran somewhere, una, ina ending, usually it's referring to a human being, or it includes the human beings, it includes the angels, and it includes the jinns. Okay, so in that meaning, those words come in. And if it's only stating the una, ina, there's a chance that it's addressing the males and the females. So the males and the females are also included in the meaning of una, ina. Whereas atun, atin ending is strictly females. Okay? So when you see atun, atin ending, it doesn't mean it's including the men as well. It's mainly the females. Okay? And that second point where it says it could be rational or irrational, we're going to come on to that later on. Okay? All right, so far are we good with what understanding what we mean by sound plurals? Yeah. Now we go on to examples of broken plurals. Yeah, Naima.
Just a question on the sound plurals. Is it as simple as if in the English language we can add an S on the end, then it's a sound plural, or does it get more complicated than that in differentiating sound versus broken?
You're at this stage, you're not gonna know which Arabic word has a sound plural and which Arabic word has a broken. So for example, in English we have house, which goes to houses, right? That's a sound plural. Just because it's sound in the English does not mean it's going to be sound in the Arabic. So at the moment, we have no way of knowing whether it's going to be sound or plural. Okay, that's at a later stage where when we do some sarf, you will know which words take una, ina, and which words are broken. Majority, so let me tell you this as a rule, most Arabic words or most Arabic plurals are broken. Whereas in English, most plurals are sound plurals, meaning they add a S at the end. Arabic is different. Arabic, most of the plurals that we're going to learn do not have this una, ina ending. Okay, so most Arabic plurals are going to be broken, which means as you learn each word, you learn the plural with it as well. There's no way of knowing it. Okay, I hope that answers the question. Okay, Bismillah. So the next part now, which is the broken. So we've said adding una, ina is similar to adding like an S in the English language. similar to that, but not exactly the same. Okay, whereas a broken plural is where you change the structure of the word completely. Okay, there might be a slight tweak to it. There might be an addition of a letter, or it might be the harakas change completely, the letters remain the same. So I'll give you some examples of that in a moment. So if you look at the word masjid, how do you say two masjids? No, two masjids.
Masjidani.
Masjidani. So always take the singular and you add ani to it. Masjidun becomes masjidani. Pen, qalamun becomes qalamani. Now, the plural of masjid is masajid, right? There's no way of you knowing masjid is going to masajid unless you've learnt it before, right? It could have been masajid, for example. It could have been musjud. It could have been anything. But here we're learning masjid goes to masajid. That's done now. Now you know the word masjid. The plural for masjid is masajid. It's not masjiduna. That would be the mistake to make, right? Like adding an S to everything. The mistake here would be to say masjiduna. But masjid is a broken plural. How do I know it's a broken plural? Because I've learned it that way. There's no other way of knowing. Okay, so here are some examples. Qalamun went to aqlamun. So what's been added? And hamza in the beginning's been added. An alif after the lam's been added. There was no way of you knowing qalamun was going to go to aqlamun unless you learnt the word. Kitabun became kutub. Now with kutub, you drop the alif. And you've also changed the harakas on it. There's no way of you knowing kitab was going to be kutub. Why is kitab not aktab like aqlam? You just don't know. So you just have to learn the word as you go along. There's no easy way around it. Okay? In English, it's easy. Most words you add an S. With Arabic, unfortunately, most words you do not add una, ina to. So sadrun became sudurun. Manzilatun became manazil. Aynun became a'yunun. Mil'aqatun became mala'iq. Okay? You see that you look at the singular and you look at the plural, you don't see the original word in the plural. You see the letters, but the letters are not exactly in the same manner that you see in the singular. Right? Can you see the difference? Manzilatun became manazil. It's not the same. It would have been the same if it was, for example, manzilatun. Or aynun became aynuna, for example. Or mil'aqatun became mil'aqatun. Atun, atin, but it's not. Okay, so can you see that is not sound? I need you to make sure that you see that it's not sound. Okay? So we'll do a bit of practice on it so that you see the difference between sound versus broken. And what else do you know about so what kind of ending do these broken plurals have? What do they end with?
Una. Un.
Yeah, not una. Un.
Mm.
Or it ends with a u. So what kind of problem can we get into because of this?
Singular problem.
Yeah. So singular words end with un and in or u, a, e, and also plurals. So you might come across a word where it says, for example, buyutun. So you might come across this word here. I'll just write it there. Buyutun. Buyutun. What kind of ending does it have? It has an un ending. So it's not got an ani, which means it's not a dual, right? It's not got a una, ina ending. So it's not a masculine sound plural. It's not got a atun, atin to tell you that it's a feminine plural. It's just got an un at the end. And usually words which end with un are singular, right? But now we're learning singular words have un endings as well. And also broken plurals also end with un and in. Okay? So now when you look at buyutun, unless you know the word, you don't know whether it's singular or it's a broken plural. So if I tell you the meaning of buyut is houses, so now tell me, is it singular or is it a broken plural?
The broken plural.
Broken plural, yeah. Singular of buyut is bait. Baytun. Baytun is the singular, buyutun is the plural. But when you look at baytun, buyutun, there's no obvious sign that is telling you that it's plural. How do I know baytun is singular and buyutun is plural? By the meaning. You have to know the meaning of the word. Otherwise, baytun for you could be plural, buyutun for you could be singular. But unless you know the Arabic word and you know the meaning of that word, you're not going to know whether it's singular or whether it's a broken plural. Whereas contrast that to if I say to you, muhandi.
I can't see anything. Can anyone see anything?
I think they've left the chat. There you go.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm back on now. Apologies. I think I'm gonna probably have to get another laptop because it's off. Okay, everyone can see. I don't know where I lost you guys. What was I discussing?
He started typing out Muhammad Sani.
So now, as soon as you see, let me just make sure that's on record. Yeah. So when you see Muhandisani, as soon as you see ani ending, you know it is dual. If I said to you Muhandisatun, what's that telling you? What's Muhandisatun telling you?
Feminine plural.
Yeah, plural again is atun, atin. Muslimatun, muslimatin, muslimatin. Muhandisatun, again, this is a sound, feminine, plural. So, ani, aini, aini, ina, ina, atun, atin, atin are your unique endings. As soon as you see ani, aini, aini, you know it's dual. As soon as you see una, ina, ina, you know it's plural. As soon as you see atun, atin, atin, you know it's feminine plural. All right? But when you just see a word Okay, we're back on. Yeah, I got stuck again. Okay. Where are we? Okay. So I'm using my hotspot now and see if that stays on. Okay, we can all see the screen, right? So we've got another half an hour to get through, inshallah. All right, so back again to the word. It was rijal, I think. So when you see the word rijal, what ending does it have?
One.
Un. So an un ending, each time you see un and in, or you see u, a, e, and I ask you, is it singular, dual, or plural? Your answer is going to be singular or broken plural. Un and in, u, a, e. It's going to either be a singular or it's going to be a broken plural. How do you know whether it's singular or broken plural? What do you need from me? The meaning. So if I say rijal means men, you're going to say it's broken plural, right? If I say man, you're going to say it's singular. So when it comes to words like this, you need to know the meaning. Otherwise, you're going to get stuck, okay? Hopefully I don't get stuck again. Right, any questions from anyone on that?
Yes.
Yeah, Bismillah.
Just to be clear, does that mean the dual never changed, just the plural, like we're doing?
Yeah, so the dual is easy to spot. The dual will have a ani,
A.
aini, and also the masculine plural will have, the sound masculine plural will have una, ina, ina, and the sound feminine plural will have atun, atin, atin. When you see those three endings, you know it's going to either be a dual, masculine plural, or a feminine plural. The only time where you're going to find it a bit difficult is when it ends with the un, when it ends with the an, when it ends with the in or u, a, i. Then you need to know the meaning. Okay.
One more question.
Yeah, just ask away.
Is it possible that the singular and plural can be the same thing? I'm just curious.
Not exactly the same.
Okay.
Otherwise, they may be very similar, but there'll always be a difference.
Okay.
Otherwise, there won't be a difference between the singular and the plural. There would have to be a slight difference, either just one haraka difference, or there's an extra letter inserted somewhere. There has to be a difference. Otherwise, it's the same. All right. Oh, yeah. Come. Let's do a quick practice. I don't know whether we're all confident with this at the moment. For Sister Famida, are we getting it, or is it? Yeah. Just gonna take a bit more time to kind of digest it, I think. So let's do some practice with it first. Oh, this is year 2 stuff. 1 minute. So let's do a bit of practice. So let's do. I mean, this will clear things up for you. So let's do all of this exercise together. So we start off with. Brother, I forgot your name. Zakaria. If you could do the word mudarrisina. So you got 3 categories. We're only focusing on plural. So all of these words are plural, so you don't need to worry about whether it's singular here. So it's all plurals. You just have to figure out whether it's a sound masculine plural, sound feminine plural, or a broken plural. Okay. So once we've done this, we've only got maybe another 2-3 sessions to finish this ism section off. Then we're going to start making some sentences. Then you're going to see the importance of these things that we're learning. Okay. So let's start off with mudarrisina. You tell me. So the sound masculine plural has una, ina, and the sound feminine plural has atun, atin, atin. Yeah. So mudarrisina is sound masculine plural. So here, I'm going back to lesson 1. How many things about the ism should we know? 4. Case ending, number, gender, and what was the last one? Anyone remember? Anyone online? Remember what's the last thing that we need to know about the ism?
Type.
Type.
Type. So when you look at the word mudarrisina, what's the case ending for mudarrisina? Yeah. So is it rafa, is it nasb, or is it jar? I know because you've not started with this in the beginning. So mudarrisina, anyone else? Can you tell me whether it's rafa, nasb, or jar? Yeah. Mudarrisina is nasb or jar. That's the case ending. The number, is it singular, is it dual, or is it plural? You said it's masculine, plural. So that's telling you it's plural. And you also know the gender is masculine. So you already know 3 things about the word mudarrisina. Mudarrisina is either nasb or jar. And the sound masculine plural name, title is telling you that it's plural and it's also masculine. Okay, we'll do more of that together. Sister Famida, could you do the word rijalin? We've just done it together now. Rijalin. Broken plural. And is it rafa, is it nasb, or is it jar? Remember un and in. Rafa, nasb, jar. So rijalin is jar. Okay, let's move on to online. Salawatin.
Sound feminine plural.
Ahsant. Salawatin, sound feminine plural. Can you tell me whether it's rafa, nasb, or jar?
It's nasb or jar.
Nasb or jar. Yeah. Salawatun, salawatin, salawatin. Okay, someone else online? Kutuban.
Broken plural.
Yeah, good. Broken plural. Kutuban. Is it rafa, nasb, or jar?
Nasib.
Nasb. Good. Okay. Zakaria, back to you. As-sayyaratu. Yeah. Sound feminine plural. So if you remove the al, it becomes sayyaratun, just like muslimatun. So it's a sound feminine plural. Okay, Sister Famida, al-mu'minuna. Yeah, it's rafa, but which plural is it? Is it broken plural? Is it sound feminine plural? Is it sound masculine plural? Yeah, remember una, ina, sound masculine plural. Good. Let's mix it up a bit. Someone online, again, this is using your knowledge of case ending, the noon sound, and things like that. Could you tell me bani? What's bani? Anyone confident to do? We've done the word bani before, but where do we put bani into?
Is it masculine plural?
Masculine plural, yeah. Sound. So make sure you say the sound.
Yeah,
Sound,
sound.
masculine plural. What's the original of bani?
Banina.
Banina, right? The noon sound here has been dropped. Banina. Okay. And let's do one more. Let's do the word abwabun. Anyone online? Abwab?
Yes.
Yeah. Abwab. Sorry, say that again. Is it a sound plural or is it a broken plural?
Broken plural.
Broken plural. And is it rafa? Is it nasb or is it jar? Rafa. Abwabun. Good. Right. Right. Any questions on that?
Yes.
Yeah. Please ask.
Abwabun.
Mm-hmm.
We have to know the meaning before we can know it's broken, right?
No. No. So because all these words that we've given above, all of them are plurals, right? So here in this exercise, you do not need to know the meaning to know whether it is sound or broken. Because sound plurals have what ending? Una, ina, atun, atin. That's your sound plurals. Meaning, if it doesn't have any of those endings, it's going to be a broken plural.
Okay.
The only time you need to know the meaning is when, if these words were not plurals, if I gave you a mix of singular as well. So, for example, if I said the word najmun, and I said the najmun has got an un ending, right? If I said najmun, it's got an un ending. Now you need to know the meaning, because the meaning of najmun is a star, right? When it ends with a un and in, then you do need to know the meaning. But this exercise, the reason you do not need to know the meaning is because all of them are plurals. So we're not having this discussion about singular and plural here. But generally, if it was a random word and this exercise was not about plural words, then you need to know the meaning. All right. Okay. Any other questions from anyone? Al-Mafatiha. Yeah, let's go. So I want you to go through it. I want you to go through Al-Mafatiha with me. So always look at the ending. Look at the ending. What is the ending telling you? Always have in your mind, there's no ani, aini. There's no una, ina. There's no atun, atin. Which is telling you that it's not a sound plural, nor is
Broken
it a
plural.
dual. Yeah, and it's a broken plural, right? So you rule it out like that. However, if this exercise was not about plurals, then the other thing you would ask yourself is, what is the meaning of al-mafatih? Because if it wasn't about plurals, it could also be singular. Okay, but this exercise is strictly plurals. So you know it's a broken plural. Okay, we good on that so far? Any more questions? Please ask. This is the time to ask. Okay, so we're gonna spend a bit of time on this, but we're gonna review these things with practice later on. Now this concept, this last thing about the numbers, we've done singular, we've done dual, we've done plural. If we quickly summarize plurals, we say there are two main types of plurals. One is a sound plural, one is a broken plural. How would you guys define sound plural again?
When you can find the original word in its plural.
Exactly. So the word, the original singular word remains intact, and all you're doing is adding something to the end of the word. So in our
To the
case,
end.
it's una, ina, atun, atin. Those are your sound plurals. Broken plural is when you change the word completely. So for example, masjid became masajid.
Masajid.
And it's
Masajid.
not, yeah. If it was if masjid was a sound plural, it would be masjiduna. All right? But it's not a sound plural. It's a broken plural, masajid. How do I know whether a word is sound plural and whether a word is going to have a broken plural? You don't know. You just have to learn them as you go along. Okay? But you should know the difference between a sound plural and the difference between the broken plural. Okay? And what was the last thing that we said about broken plurals? They have what ending? Un and in, or u, a,
In.
e ending, which means they look very similar to singular words. So singular words and broken plurals look exactly the same. So that's where you need to know the meaning to know whether a word is singular and whether a word is plural. All right?
I do have a question.
Yeah. Yeah, please ask.
Okay, from the word Italian, for example, that we know it's a singular word and also a plural or broken plural. But when you ask, is it a waffle, nostalgia? We said it's jahal, but I
Well,
want to
sorry,
ask if
which
because
word are you
if we
which word are you referring to?
Rijali,
Is it the one that we've
from the
done
one that we
in
did
an
earlier,
exercise?
Rijali, yeah, yeah,
Rijalin.
yeah.
Yeah, so
So that
Rijalin,
was
yeah.
you said it's jahal, jahal. So my question is, if we change it back to the original word, which is rajulun, is nas, is awful, right? I'm kind of
Oh, yeah,
confused in that aspect.
Rajulun.
If
Yeah, Rajulun is Rafa, yeah. So here, Rijalin could also be
well,
Rijalun. I didn't
yes,
quite get your question, but Rijalin, the only reason it's got an in is just to kind of throw you off a bit. That's all. Rijalin could be Rijalan, could be Rijalun. Could be Rijalun, Rijalan, Rijalin.
okay,
Yeah, here the exercise is just
yeah,
giving you like different
but
endings. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. There's no particular reason why it's rijalin. It's just giving you different words with different endings. That's all. Just like aqlamin, abwabun. I could have said
Okay,
abwabin. Could have said aqlaman. It's just giving you different endings. Just no particular reason.
okay.
And this exercise was only asking you about whether it's a sound plural or broken. I was just going forward and asking you about the case ending. That's all. Just so that I know that
Okay,
you are familiar with the endings. Because by now we should be getting to a stage where we know what we mean by rafa, nasb, and jar. I don't want to get to a stage after a few weeks where 2 months down the line, and I'm still asking you whether this word is rafa, nasb, and jar, and you're struggling. Because if you're struggling at that point, you've got a lot to catch up on. So yeah, Ihsan.
Can we do malaikatun, please?
Yeah. Bismillah. I want you to do it. Malaika.
So I'm not sure what the singular for malaikatun would be. So obviously we know it's
So
plural.
yeah, ignore the singular. Assume all the words in this
Mm.
category in what you see are plurals. Now you
So
tell me whether it's first
the-
of all sound or broken.
So I'm gonna guess broken,
Yeah.
but the
Why is
reason
it broken?
because it doesn't fit una ina. But the other way that I go about it is if I know what the singular is, could I add? Does it sound like I've added una ina to it? So because I don't know the singular of malaika, I don't know if malaika on its own is a singular. Does that make sense?
Sorry, say that one more time.
So one of the ways that I'm trying to figure it out is if I know
Mhm.
that the original word is in the plural, because
Mhm.
I don't know what the original word of malaika is in the singular, I can't tell if it's in the plural or not.
Yeah. But for now, when you look at this exercise in particular,
Mm.
this exercise is telling you to begin with that it is all plural,
Yeah.
right? That's the first thing. So we don't need to worry about anything else. The second thing is to know whether a word, a plural is sound versus broken is how. If it has una, ina, you know it's sound masculine plural. If it's atun, atin, you know it's sound feminine plural. If it doesn't have those two endings, then you're going to assume it's a broken plural. So when you look at malaika, malaikatun is not malaikatun.
Okay.
It's not saying atun, right? It's just saying malaikatun. It doesn't make a difference here, or it's not important in this exercise for you to know the singular, because I'm telling you malaika is plural. So you're just trying to work out whether it's sound or broken.
Okay.
The only way you know whether it's sound or broken is if you know what the sound endings are. Una, ina, atun, atin. If,
Didn't know that's all plural.
that's different.
Then we wouldn't have known unless it knew the vocab.
Yeah, so you could look at malaikatun and yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's fine. So just like all the other ones, rijalin, abwabun, masajidu, ku'usun, any words which ends with the un, an, in, or a u, a, e, if it wasn't in this exercise, as we said, it could be two possibilities. It could be singular or it could be a broken plural. So malaikatun, when you look at it, doesn't have a una, ina, doesn't have a atun, atin, which means it's two possibilities. It could be a singular or it could be a broken plural. There are only two possibilities there.
You didn't know.
Yeah, so here you have to know the meaning. The only time where you don't need to know the meaning to know whether it's plural is if it's got una, ina, atun, atin, ani, aini for a dual. If it hasn't got any of those endings, then you need to know the meaning. Whereas, for example, I know where you're coming from, but it's a bit hard to kind of explain as well. So, for example, I said I gave you the word because you're working the other way. You're going from singular to plural. So the word kafir, kafirun. Give me the plural of kafir.
Kafiruna.
Kafiruna. How did you know kafir goes to kafiruna?
I don't know for
You've
certain.
seen the word.
Oh,
Yeah. But now you can see the word kafir
Yeah.
in the word kafiruna. That's you, but if you didn't come across that word, you would never know. But now kafir has another plural. What is it?
Kafirina.
No. So kafiruna, kafirina is a rafa nasb jar. Kafir has another plural. There are some words which have more than one plural.
Kufar.
Kuffar. Again, how do you know the word kuffar?
Just came across it, yeah.
Yeah, you've come across it. But now when you look at the word kuffarun, is it broken plural or is it a sound plural?
It's broken plural.
Yeah, how do you know it's not a sound plural?
There's no una ina on it.
Yeah, there's no una, ina, and there's no atun, atin. But kafir and kuffar have this exact same ending, un. But how do I know kafir is one and how do I know kuffar is many? Because of the meaning. Kafir, you know, means one disbeliever. Kuffar, you know, is many disbelievers. And you don't see the word kafir in the word kuffar. You see the letters, kafara, but you don't see kafir as that word in kuffar. Whereas kafir, you see kafiruna, the original word remained intact, kafir. That's why it's sound plural. Whereas in kuffar, you've changed the structure of the word completely. It's not the same. Right, I hope that kind of answers some of your questions there.
Yeah, it does make sense, more
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at malaika, again, it's got an unending. There's no way of knowing unless you know the word. By the way, what is the singular of malaika? Anyone? So malaika is angels, plural. What do you call the angel of death?
Malakul Maut.
Malakul maut, right? Malakun is the singular. Malakun. Malakun. Okay. All right. I don't know whether I want to do the next part with you guys at the moment because this next part is like, yeah, this next part is probably like the most difficult thing that you're going to probably learn in Arabic. And it's a concept which doesn't really make any sense. It's just something that you have to acknowledge. And then when we come on to doing practice, then only then it's going to make some sense. So what I would like for next time, so we'll try and start on time next time. We're gonna do a bit more. So we're gonna do this first, number section. Then we're gonna cover a bit of gender as well, so that we don't lag behind. So we're gonna do a bit of gender section next week because this ties into gender as well. So have a look into it. Irrational versus irrational. I want you to read it first. Try and understand as best as you can. And then we're going to go through it together. But what I probably want to finish on is just a bit of reading. So probably another 2, maximum 3 lessons. And then we're done with case ending, number, gender, type. And then we'll go through some sentences. And then we'll start that extra session at 9:30. 9:30 will be the reading. If he lets me open. I don't know why I have this issue with the internet. I had this issue last year. I don't know what it is. It disconnects. Does anyone know? Is it a laptop issue? Is it? Because I have no issues at home, but when I come to this place, it always disconnects for some reason.
I don't think it'd be a laptop issue. I think it'd be a connection
Ah.
issue in terms of where the router is and where your laptop is, like the distance and how many devices are connected to the router at the same time.
But he does. Ustadh Bilal doesn't seem to have any issues when he's using his laptop. But I seem to be having an issue when I'm using my laptop.
But maybe it is a laptop issue then.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Okay. Let's do a bit of practice. Again, this you have to practice in your own time. And yes, please read Brother Faisal's message as well. I think he has a drop-in session. Faisal, do you want to just quickly explain that as well? What the thought process behind this is and what you guys actually do? Because this is a really good idea.
So good start. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Apologies, I'm not feeling great. But Shams and I met this last Thursday, just for 45 minutes over Zoom, just to go over kind of any queries we had. Went over a bit of the fully declinable and partly declinable. But it'd be good to see other people there as well, just have a full rounded conversation and get people's interpretations of working through issues, etc. Like I said, it's a drop in, it's not mandatory or anything, but it just gives time to go through over the last lesson and potentially look at the next lesson as well. I'm no expert by any means, but inshallah, as a collective, we can work through some of the issues. And then if we've still got questions, then we can bring it to the session as well. So that's weekly on Thursdays at 8 p.m. And I've shared the Google Meet invite in the WhatsApp chat.
Jazakallah khair. Yeah, please do consider it, because it's a way of kind of forcing you to do a bit of Arabic, because I know a lot of students struggle to kind of manage their time to try and put some time in to go through the Arabic. So it's a good idea to get together. If anyone has questions, you help each other first, and then you bring those questions to class if you have any concerns. I think going forward, I mean, the things that we're going to be doing is that extra reading session, and then maybe after every month and a half, 2 months, we might just have an extra revision session where we just go through certain things that we're struggling with. But please try and attend that session that Brother Faisal is suggesting as well, inshallah. Let's quickly do a few things, and then we'll stop. So if you look at the word al-mushrikat, so with your Arabic knowledge so far, you look at the word al-mushrikati, always look at the ending. The ending will tell you a lot about the word. So when you look at al-mushrikati, what's the first thing you notice? What's missing at the end? Yeah.
Sound.
Yeah. So the sound, the noon sound is missing. Sorry, yeah. So that noon sound in al-mushrikati is missing. It's not al-mushrikatin. That's the normal sound. So the first thing you ask yourself, why is that noon sound missing? So one possible reason for that noon sound to drop is the al, right? So the al and the tanween do not like to go together. So we're going to learn that in the type section. So as soon as you see al, the noon sound goes. So really, if you drop the als from al-mushrikat, what does it become? Mushrikatin. Okay. So that's one thing. So the noon sound is missing. The noon sound is missing because of the al. Okay. So al-mushrikati. Now, what else does the ending tell you?
Sound plural.
Ati. Really, it's atin, right? Atin ending. So what is that telling you? It is a which type of plural? Feminine plural. Yeah. So you know, even though you don't know the meaning of the word, you know it's to do maybe with a female or something feminine, and you know it's to do with something that is many. It's plural. So you don't know the meaning yet. All you know that is that it's a plural and it's referring to something that is feminine. And you know the case ending as well. It could be either nasb or it could be jar. Okay, so that's how I want you to approach the Quran for now. And in the same ayah here, you've got the word mushrikatin. Mushrikatin. So do you see the connection between mushrikat and mushrika? Yeah, mushrikat, plural, mushrikatin, singular. Mushrikatin, to make it into plural, just like muslimatin became muslimatin, mushrikatin becomes mushrikatin. mushrikatin. Okay. But here, mushrikatin, is it rafa, is it nasb, or is it jar?
Jar.
Jar. What's causing it to be jar?
It's the kasrat.
Yeah, that's a sign that it's jar. But what's causing it to be jar? We haven't learnt it, but yeah. So the min. So there are certain words which we're going to learn. When you see them before the word, then that word becomes jar. What's the other one that we've learned? Ala. Yeah, ala.
Ala,
We learn
ila,
Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin. So ala is one word that makes the ism jar, and min is another one. Okay, let me do one more and then we'll stop, inshallah. You look at the word annar.
ila al-jannah.
Anyone know the meaning of annar?
Hell. Fire.
Yeah, okay. So let me not ask you the meaning first. So when you look at the word annar, what type of ending does it have? Not ari, but like what does it have at the end? E.
E.
Yeah. So the first thing so this is the approach you need to have. It's got an E at the end, right? Has it got an any ending? Has it got una, ina ending? Has it got a atun, atin ending? It doesn't, right? It has a u, a, or e. So in this case, it's got an e ending, all right? When it has an e at the end, what are the two possibilities? It could be singular or it could be a broken plural. So what do you need? You need to know the meaning. The meaning of anar is fire. So anari is singular. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's the kind of process you have to go through. It's not got any. It's not got una, ina. This is this is only if you don't know the meaning of the word. And it's not got atun, atin. So it's not a dual, it's not a sound plural, which means it could be singular or it could be a broken plural. What do you need? You need to know the meaning. The meaning will tell you whether the word is singular or it's a broken. I think this concept here of knowing whether it's singular and broken plural, go through that in your heads a few times, because I think you are still struggling a bit. Yeah, Faisal?
Just a quick one. Obviously, in this context, you've said it's singular because it's referring to one fire. But if it was referring to multiple fires, how would you extract that from the meaning? Would you have to read around the context of the sentence?
Sorry, say that again. I missed the first part of your question.
So, obviously, in this sentence here, Anari is singular,
Yeah.
but we know what it's referring to, i.e., one fire. But what if it's referring to multiple fires, and therefore, would you need to know the meaning of the sentence around it?
You would need to know the meaning of that word.
Okay.
So whatever the plural of annar is, you would need to know that. I'm trying to think what the word of the plural of annar is, niran or something. I don't know which what the exact word is. For example, if it never said nar, if it said nur, for example, ila nur, right? It said ila nuri. The plural of nur is anwar. So the only way you know whether it's singular or plural is by knowing the meaning. So the context won't really tell you much. You have to know that individual word to know whether anar is singular or plural.
And Ustadh,
Yeah.
not chip into.
Yeah.
Remember, I asked a question about word having the same meaning. So in English, I think fire is fire, if I'm right. And
Yeah.
plural, they're both fire and fire. So it's kind of like linking to what he just asked about knowing the difference. So we have to just know the meaning.
Yeah, I'm trying to grasp your question, but anar is singular. The plural, I don't know what the plural of anar is, but you would have to know the individual word to know whether it's singular or plural, if that's your question. Maybe I've not understood the question properly.
Yeah, but it's fine. I understand. I grasped what you're trying to say now. But because earlier on I was
Yeah.
asking about meanings of singular and plural being the same thing. So, but in English, for instance, in English, fire, singular is fire, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Plural as well is fire. So like they're the same thing. I think I asked
Is
the question like
is a plural of fires with an S? Yeah.
Ah.
So in English, I think maybe in English you might have an example of a singular, and is there an example of a singular and a plural being exactly the same?
sheep.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's different types, there's like collective plurals, things like that. So there are certain words in the sync that might be the same. But usually in the Arabic, there'll be a difference, I think. A singular will be singular, and there might be niran. Yeah, okay. Nar, niran. So now you know niran is the plural. There are certain words, however, that where you don't have a singular. So for example, nas, which means people, you don't really have a singular word that comes from nas in that sense. All right. Well, inshallah, we'll run over slightly, but next week, as I said, we'll go through the this section here. So in your reading, go through the rational versus irrational. If you don't understand it, don't worry too much. Just try and try and understand as much as you can. This section will only make sense when we start doing some Arabic sentences and other stuff. And try and read through the gender section as well. We'll go through that if we get time. No, that's just like you to kind of try and read before the lesson. The homework will be the exercises, and I'll upload the answers as well, inshallah. Yeah, bismillah. Yeah. So the homework will be that entire section. So the homework is exercise 1, 2. No, actually, yeah, it is just exercise 1, I think. Yeah, just exercise 1. So you've got an easy one this time. Next time you'll have a slightly longer homework. So it's just exercise 1. Inshallah. طيب وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. Inshallah, we'll continue next week.